Whenever anyone talks about craft beer, all they talk about, it seems, is hops. Hoppy this, hoppy that, hoppy the other thing. And when they talk about malt, you hear expressions like malt cushion, malt pillow, malt backbone. That kind of implies that hops are more important than malt, that the malt is there for the hops to rest on. In fact, it's a completely different scenario. A beer, a really well-made beer, is an integrated thing with malt and hops and yeast and water all working together. So don't forget malt. It's an important part of a beer. It is not separate to hops, it goes together. And that's why we're here today, to celebrate malt.
Well, Supernova is a malt that we've worked on for a wee while now, and basically it's giving a nice malty caramelness to it, but it dries out in the palate, and for the IPAs and pale ales, I think this malt will work really, really well. One of the things I notice with some brewers is that they sort of tend to take the shotgun approach, and they sort of throw a whole lot of malts into the grist. And I don't believe that's necessary. I think sometimes less is best, and we're trying to simplify it by creating this malt that'll just get that malt enhancement coming through in the beer, and it just stands out. It's a bit more obvious. Well, like a lot of our malts, we start off looking for where there's a need, and then once we decide what it is that we're trying to create, then we manipulate things in the lab, and we play around with the roaster. Consistency is really key, and to make sure we can repeat that malt when we bring it out and make sure it's working properly.
Well, new malts are always exciting, and this one's a bit different. So the early indications of how it tastes and the kind of dimension it's going to add to the beer are all looking pretty promising. Well, anything that simplifies the brewing process and streamlines the brew day is always an advantage. This malt combines some components and some flavours from a few different types of specialty malts that can add quite a nice contribution to the beer. We're looking for this malt to add to the hops, accentuate the hops. So it's got some caramel notes, a little bit of biscuitiness, but it's got a lovely sort of spicy malt character, which you don't often see, that's really going to contribute to that overall hop profile and the hop presence. Well, we're stealing the name of the malt a little bit for this beer, Supernova Amber Ale. Hoppy into the amber spectrum, you know, pushing up an IPA, but that lovely, wonderful textural malt component is going to be prominent. It's just going to work with those hops really nice.
Okay, so we've finished the brew day here at Hallertau, and man, it smells good. The malt was just, delicious when you walked into the brewery this morning. The hops are great. Honestly, it's going to be a really good beer, I think, and I'm really looking forward to trying this new Supernova Malt Amber Ale.
I'm excited too.